Alliance Party. A psychotherapist by profession, Dr. Fulani is making her second run for the presidency. She is on the ballot in 40 states and is qualified for taxpayer-paid federal matching funds from the federal government to help run her campaign. Dr. Fulani, thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
I'm just curious, what goes through your mind when you hear these speeches, these stump speeches from the president and from Governor Clinton?
Well, one of the things is joy at the growth and development of an independent political movement in this country. I think people are recognizing, Judy, that voting for either the Democrat or Republican this year is voting for an evil. The lesser of two evils still produces that. And I think the level of distrust and dislike that the American people feel for the two-party system can be seen in the surge of support for Perot, who's showing somewhere at 20%, in spite of the fact that his withdrawal in July really affected his popularity.
Do you think you're tapping into the same disaffection, disillusionment that Ross Perot says he's trying to, or indicates that he's trying to tap into?
Oh, absolutely. I think that it's my work, the work of the libertarians, of Dr. John Hagelin with the Natural Law Party and others who literally put Ross Perot on the stage in the debates. I think that what Mr. Perot has made visible are the millions of people in this country who not only feel disenfranchised, but have been disenfranchised by a two-party system. And I think the biggest issue in this year's race is the vote for independence. I think we need to drop the two-party system and go independent with a passion if people want change in America.
What is different about what you're arguing? As I understand it, and I read back over some of the material from 1988, you talked a lot 4 years ago about minorities in this country who were not given a voice in the political process. This year you're talking about deregulating democracy, among other things. What do you mean by that?
Well, that's always been a key element and aspect of the work that the New Alliance Party has done. It's clear to me that one of the most constrained institutions in this country is politics. I think that we need to expand the right and opportunity for people to get registered to vote. We should have same-day and automatic voter registration. I don't think we should just have an election day. I think we should follow suit like other European countries who sometimes have an election week, which makes it possible for elderly people, parents, students, the disabled, to get to the polls and vote. I think we need to support the Democracy and Debates bill that is being sponsored by Congressman Timothy Penny, which broadens the participants in the debates and lays out significant criteria for independents to be in. I think we have to open up our political process so that ordinary people have a say in how the policies are developed.
But to what end? What are you trying to achieve by doing this?
Well, one of the things is to impact upon the elitism of politics in this country, to bring the American public into policy decision-making. I think it's a problem that we don't know how our money is spent. I think it's a problem that we don't get to set the budget priorities, because I think who really controls America and its politics are big business, which have tremendous control over these political action committees through which they funnel money so that politicians dance to their tune while the people who put them in office are suffering. And I think that's one of the things that the American people are rebelling against.
You say in your, it's a book that you put out, a statement of your platform or whatever. Among other things you want in this country, you talk about a guaranteed job at a minimum wage for all Americans who need one. You talk about a substantially higher minimum wage, a free and comprehensive national health care program, a home for every American, a free education for every American from pre-kindergarten through postgraduate work. How in the, first of all, how much does all that cost, do you think?
Well, first, it depends. If we take, for example, the profit out of health care and have a health care plan as does every other industrialized country in the nation, in the world with the exception of South Africa, then I think health care would be affordable. Who says that drug companies should set the fees for medication? And if in doing that, they basically make it impossible for many people to get what they need so that they can make a buck. So one thing is that I think what it would mean to have that kind of freedom in America and these things as basic rights, we would revamp what they currently cost, and the profit would not be included in them. Secondly, it's kind of shocking to me that every time we talk about improving the quality of life for the American people, the issue that gets raised is how do we pay for it? George Bush found $1 billion a day to take us into a war that most people didn't agree with. At a time when there was an AIDS crisis in this country, we could have spent a good portion of that money to find a cure. So I think that we're brainwashed whenever it comes to issues that would improve the lives of ordinary people into saying, oh, we can't do that. You know, the Congress has free daycare for its children. They have free health care, and they make more money than the average citizen. Maybe one of the places that we take the money from is these elite, professional, polished politicians who get into office and then screw up our economy.
But do you really think that by closing down some of those kinds of opportunities for the elite, as you describe them, and you're also talking about, I know, a drastic reduction in defense and military spending, that you could pay for this kind of a comprehensive program? I mean, this is something that everybody would like to have theoretically, but having it is something else, is it not?
Well, one of the most exciting aspects of Perot's campaign has been introducing, for example, the electronic town hall meetings, where part of how I would see that is that there would be dialogue about what the American people want, where we want our money spent. To be quite honest with you, like most ordinary people in this country, we might have billions of dollars, as far as I know, in the economy. We just don't know where the money goes. So what I'm really talking about is a revamping of priorities so that the budget is skewed not in behalf of the wealthy, but in behalf of the middle income and working people of this country. There was a report this summer, I guess, that showed that the 80s was a booming year for the nation. Most of us did not know because we lost our jobs. However, 60% of the gains of that decade went to the top 1% of the nation. How could that be? What kinds of regulations or laws or legislation or protection for the wealthy exist in America so that we don't have a equitable distribution of wealth in this country? We produce a lot of things as poor and working people. How come we don't share in the benefits of this nation?
But so I hear what you're saying, but so many of the things you're talking about require a heavy hand of government in making sure that these things happen.
What else
I guess
are they
my
doing?
question to you is what haven't the elections of the last several years indicated that that's what the American people want to move away from?
No, I think what the American people want is a government that functions in our behalf. I think they want to know that the monies that get spent in America include us as a priority. I think they want sensible people making decisions about how money is spent. And what the deregulation of democracy does is open up the process so that can happen. I think this move towards independent politics is an indication that we want real change. And I think those people who want to see a continued destruction of our country should vote for the Democrats and Republicans, because they're responsible for this economic depression, no matter how much smooth talk they put forward. If people believe in Democrats, they should vote for Democrats. If they believe in Republicans, they should vote for Republicans. But if they want America to move in a new direction, then they need to vote for any independent. If they like Moreau and the Libertarians, go for it. Hagelin, of course, Perot.
Perot.
Yes, I mean, it's so important that we vote independent. One other thing I just wanted to say about minorities.
All right, because what I want to ask you at this point, we've only got a couple of minutes left, is that, as you know, in 1988, there were, what, 91.5 million votes cast. Out of that number, you got 217,000. It was, what, less than, or a little more than 2/10 of 1%.
And I probably got 12 minutes of media. Yes, last week, John Hagelin went on a national program. He brought a half an hour. 30,000 people called him. People are sitting around waiting. Again, I think that we're going to be shocked at the independent vote. And just taking a moment to speak directly.
But you're on, just to clarify something, in '88 you were on all 50 ballots.
Right, and now
this
I'm
year
on 40.
Now, why is that?
Because we made a decision to get on in those states, enough states so that we could win the White House, and that was not up for debate. But in states like Texas, my supporters are organizing there to guarantee that the laws change so that the requirements don't put the pressure of spending $100,000 on independents just to get on the ballot in that state alone.
Just quickly.
I just wanted to say quickly to the African American and Latino and women and gay communities that if in fact they want to vote for a black agenda or a pro-democracy liberal agenda this year, then they have a shot at doing that by voting for me as the only African American and independent. But to the people of this country, just vote independent. Don't give your vote to a Democrat and Republican. Don't vote for the further destruction of America.
Well, Dr. Lenora Fulani, we thank you for being with us.
Thank you.